Oh, hello, and welcome to Dente Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the E stands for evil.
I'm the gamer in yellow.
And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. Tonight we have deleted software, which is semi-appropriate as we are still recorded live from our respective basements and lairs and dojos. So yeah, we're doing deleted software. It is by Nahviss on creepypasta.wiki. That's Navhiss. You can go check it out there on creepypasta.wiki, or you can sit back and listen to our crappy narration or a crappy rundown of it. And by ours, I mean mine.
That's really just yours.
Yeah. So our character, narrator, or Nair, as I'm going to call him until the very end of the story, is got this perfect life, this perfect job, nice car, and even a beautiful girlfriend that he's known since like middle school, or younger. He lives in this small town called Commune, surrounded by the Ghost Wilderness, and life seems to be really good. The only real thing that sucks sometimes is that he his work kind of drags on occasionally. And one particular day, his boss comes over, John, and tells him that he has to work a later shift to make up for the slack of other employees for some reason. And so he goes and does that, and is while he's working late at night, he texts his girlfriend Evelyn to ask her if she wants to go on a date the next day, and she's super excited for it. And so that's all set up. And then on his way back with his car from work that night, he's driving around and he sees these like multicolored lights in the sky. And he kind of just chalks it up to being like an airplane or something like that. And it flies over the town and over the Ghost forest. And then he goes home, and the next morning he comes into work, and his boss kind of like irks him a little bit because he seems to be feigning ignorance of ever meeting Evelyn, even though narrator is certain that John was introduced to Evelyn some like earlier, but he shrugs that off and still hasn't gotten a text message or confirmation from his girlfriend. So he goes over to her apartment and discovers that the apartment has not been lived in for like 20 years. Like there's nothing, there's sign, all the signs are that like it's been vacant, and the neighbor has never like seen anybody there, doesn't know what this guy is talking about. So he's freaking out. He immediately just goes into the woods because that's what Evelyn always used to talk about. And so he goes out there. His car does break down at this point, right?
Yeah, while he's getting through.
Yeah. And so he huffs it in by foot. And at this point, it's getting dark. And he gets out to this clearing where there's this impenetrable wall of trees. And then the lights like come back over him, and like there's a flash, and he wakes up, and it's the next day, and he goes into work, starts talking to some
point where it's like that's the point where he goes in and no one knows Evelyn.
Yeah, no one knows Evelyn, and he barely knows Evelyn. Like I think he has a girlfriend named Lily now, or they're talking about a girlfriend named Lily, but it doesn't sound. It seems forced. It seems like it doesn't compute entirely in his mind. And he's getting kind of like a out of body experience as he's talking to his boss John about his wife and such. Like everything seems forced. So he vacates there. At that point, he goes out to the park, and is also checking selfies and stuff, and sees that he's just like it's not, it looks like photos that were framed as if like there was another person, but there's nobody there. It's just him alone, either out in the park or out at a restaurant. And his
Sadder than
face,
he remembered. Yeah.
yeah, like his face is registering of like a sadness that like yeah, like something, either like he's missing something. And that's when he sees these two kids playing around in the park, and it reminds him of when he first met Evelyn back in middle school, and the little girl is even named Eva, and so that's when he decides to go out into the Ghost Woods and
It like
finds that,
clicks. The name
yeah,
clicks, and then the name makes the woods click. He's like, wait, I need to go out here. She's out here.
yes,
Who's out here? I don't fucking know.
yeah, exactly. So he goes out to that clearing again, finds the impenetrable forest again, starts getting really frustrated and angry at what like this whole thing. Starts punching the tree, and then he rips through the tree like paper and falls into a void, where he then meets this nondescript humanoid figure, presumably male, and they're talking to him like his entire life is just a cyclic program that this guy's been watching for eons. And he questions he questions Nair about like why did you want to leave my garden? Like you could have lived in paradise. Instead you chased this rogue software. And then Nair's getting all pissy because like it's not Evelyn wasn't just she's not a computer. She was a real person. Why are you saying all this? Is this some kind of a dream? Like, I want to go back. It's like, oh, you can't go back. You have to stay here because, like, in a way, you've deleted yourself from existence. And it's like, what? And then basically it just leaves off with him in this void with this other figure. As the figure goes on to try a different like cycle or something, and we get Nair's name, which is Adam. So. Biblical references. And that was my crappy rundown of deleted software. So I guess we'll move on to everyone tolerates the grammar acquisitions at this point. So it wasn't after our high school graduation that I gathered the courage to ask her out on a date. I think it wasn't until after our high school graduation.
It could be that it wasn't after, which means they did it before.
It wasn't after, yeah. Yeah, I suppose, but at the same time, no.
It's laid out, yeah, probably.
Yeah, especially afterward. Like I think it's like right, like it's like that night, like during or like after all the ceremony and stuff like that. He asks her or something. But anyway, yeah. My next one. Great, make me do all the work in the end, huh? Take about luck. I believe you want talk about luck and perhaps even talk about bad luck.
It could just be talk about luck like sarcastically.
Yeah, yes. That's why I suggested that
Either
first,
or,
and then I was like, oh, you can even add bad luck. Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely not take about luck.
Take about luck all the time.
Yeah. Moving on to my next one. It was uncommon for us to eat together. Actually, it was more of a common occurrence. I'm guessing that they meant to add in it wasn't uncommon. Otherwise, why contradict yourself mid-sentence?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have a combined note and grammar on this one. Where is it? It's not under grammar.
God damn.
My whole note on this is essentially like, how could you not know whether or not it's common or uncommon? Because he's contradicting himself. However,
yeah.
I added to that after a few lines later when the boss doesn't know who his girlfriend is. Maybe it's a correction in his head that he made because of like the dimensional shift situation that's going on, where he's like,
okay.
do I know her? Do I not? So like,
is this uncommon? Actually, wait, no, this wasn't that common.
Yeah, so like in the first dimension, like he's with Evelyn and he uncommonly eats with his boss, but now that Evelyn's gone, in this world he eats with his boss all the time. So he had to.
Okay, so it's like So you're saying that this obvious typo is it could be a hint as to the iteration shifts? Gotcha. All right. Well, on to my next one then. Stepping out from my car, I walked over to her A3 her complex number.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think you need to get rid of that first her. So it's like I walked over to, or yeah, no. So it says I walked over to A3 her, and then maybe a comma, not a dash.
I walked
Her
over to
complex
her
number.
A3
Just
apartment.
So that, yeah,
Like
there.
her
You don't need to
A3.
have. Yeah, so you don't need like because it's like I walked over to her A3 her complex number. What?
Unless A3-her is actually the complex number.
Oh, maybe. But
Or A3ing her is a verb.
to her A3.
Walked over to her A3er to A3 her complex number. So
I'm pretty
I
sure that's
don't.
not how it's supposed to be.
No, probably not. It's like he's like, I have to make this A3, and he like breaks the left side of it off.
Yeah, clearly.
There we go.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Just gonna move on to my next one.
To help.
Yeah. It was too elaborate for any. Okay. It was too elaborate for everyone to join in on this charade, and even more unusual that she had somehow sneaked into my apartment last night, only to delete hers and her parents' phone numbers. I believe you want somehow snuck into my apartment, not sneaked. I don't think sneaked is a proper version of that.
Yeah.
Snuck is a better version, regardless.
Probably.
So my next one. She was the only thing that kept me going. I couldn't give up on her. I know she's out there, or yeah, I know she's out here a bit further, and maybe I'll. This story has a number of instances where past and present tense collide. It really should stick with one or the other. Personally, I'd go with past tense. But yeah, it was kind of irking me a couple of times because like there were moments where it'd be using past tense and then suddenly it's present tense. Just choose one. Don't do multiples. And my next one. I'm doing great. Say, how was your afternoon last night? I'm sorry. Like I know what he means, and this is dialogue. But I'd question that in reality, like in real life. I would question somebody saying that.
Last night.
How was your afternoon last night? I was like, I'm sorry?
Well, it'd make more sense if it was, how was your evening last night?
Yeah. Or how was your afternoon yesterday?
Or how was your last night?
Yeah, exactly.
That's better in one way and worse in another.
Yes, exactly. My next one here. By the end of the day, just as I was about to head home, my boss called me over to his office. It wasn't unnatural for me, or it wasn't unnatural for him to walk, or it wasn't unnatural for him to want to talk to me after work. I might use a different word than unnatural, like maybe unheard of. Just because unnatural does give a different connotation to that. I don't know.
Suppose.
Yeah. Again, this one's a nitpick, but it's just like, yeah, it's like, because when I think of unnatural, I think of like supernatural or paranormal. Like it wasn't demonic for him to want to talk to me.
Or was it?
Maybe. And then the next one, a black hole lied on the ground, which I seemingly came out of. And this is a nitpick, but I would have gone with a black hole lied on the ground, which I seemed to have come from. Just like, which I seemingly came out of, just sounded like weird to me when I read it. like in my head. So I don't know. Is that a nitpick, guys?
Sure.
Cool. Thanks, guys. Appreciate
So
it.
I was looking it up myself just so I could read it myself. Which
Ah.
I seemingly came out of.
Yeah, I don't know, like which I seemingly came out of. Like it just for some reason it read wrong when I looked it over.
It says the
Versus
same
like
thing if it's like which I seem to have come out of.
yeah, which I seem to have come from.
It's just a different way of saying the same thing, honestly.
Yeah,
Just in your mind, that's
that it worked better this
preferable.
way. So
Yeah.
yeah. All right. And then another one here. The place I was in was completely dark, save for these odd balloon-like orbs of light. And the reason I stopped this one, and I will fully admit, I picked this one off of a Google Docs, but balloon-like should be like they should be a compound word, or at least have a dash in between instead of a space, so that it is a more of a descriptor than, or so it's signified as a descriptor and not just like a like a.
So you can't confuse it with like they're odd balloons
That
and
like
there's
orbs of
also
light.
and there's also light orbs out there. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like balloon-like is a descriptor for orbs of light, but the way it's without that dash connecting balloon and like, it sounds like the balloons like orbs of light.
I mean, maybe they do. Who am I to judge?
Yeah, who knows? Moving on to my last one. I shouted, pushing me hands out toward him, only to phase through him harmlessly. So it's pushing my hands out toward him.
If it's a fiddly dee potato situation.
Yeah, but that hasn't been brought up at all since prior to this. He wasn't eating potatoes while he was in lunch. He was eating ham and cheese with mac and cheese.
It's fine.
It's when he turns into his caveman form.
Oh no! Or when he became he would just go on full Irish. And then I shouted, pushing me hands out toward him. Review Cultist would like to apologize to any of our Irish listeners for that shitty impression. And that is the end of my grammar inquisitions. So, Mikey, E stands for evil. What do you got?
All right. The first one I have here is thousands upon stars.
Millions and millions of stars. Yes.
All shine down. It's like, well, I would have basically said thousands upon thousands of stars, or thousands of stars shine down, not thousands upon stars.
Yeah, because it's like thousands upon stars. What?
Thousands of what? Thousands of people? Thousands of elephants? Who knows? It could be anything.
Yeah, it sounds like he got cut off there, like mid sentence or something.
Yeah. He was buffering.
Yeah, or he was just doing like voice to speech or text or speech to text, like a Ventrilo thing where you can like talk and it types for you, and it missed a word or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So my next issue, which might be a bit nitpicky, was the use of Ghost.
Yeah.
Because, like, I know in the second paragraph, it explains that there was a forest at the edge of town, the Ghost Wilderness.
Yeah.
And then later on, because I'd forgotten that, and then we get the sentence, when I finally pulled in the lot, the thing had vanished deep in the Ghost. And I was like, what's the Ghost?
Yeah.
So it's just a simple thing that would have made this easier if he just replaced Ghost with forest.
Yeah.
It's such an unusual word.
Yeah, I just googled
in
the
this once.
I did just actually sorry.
Well, it's used 4 times in total, but the first
I mean,
time is explaining what it is.
I mean, it's used for one specific thing right from the get-go,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
such an unusual word to describe the woods that, at least for me, it's stuck with me. So every iteration of Ghost referred to the woods to me.
Yeah, no, I every time it was referred to, I knew that they were talking about the woods. I also just Googled the etymology for Ghost. I didn't find Ghost, but Gast, French, German, or Dutch, dweller near an uncultivated field, one who came from a distance, a stranger. So, yeah, I was wondering if maybe Ghost had some other biblical mean or term, but I don't really see it.
Yeah, no. But yeah, that was my issue, and I also have issue with the other instance of Ghost, but I mean, it's all the same thing. Change it into forest, and it fixes my problem.
That's fair.
So the next one.
Mhm.
I wouldn't be finding the answers in town, so the last place to head out for was the forest. Head out for?
Yeah.
To me, didn't sound right. To me, I would have done the last place for me to check was the forest.
Yeah.
Or-
It's a
My
clearer
problem
version
with
of that.
I did make a note of it, but I did have a slight problem with that. Just in the usage of the last place, it sounds like he's already tried a few places. Like, okay, well, none of those places worked. I have to try here. It's at this point the only place to check.
Yeah.
It's like as soon as shit hits the fan, it's like, okay, this is the only place that she can be. I have to go check. It's just I found the usage of last kind of odd, personally.
Honestly, I found that entire first iteration of, or that first day, like his reaction to oh, I have to go to this forest, obviously, really weird. But I'll get into that more into my actual thoughts.
Alright. So my next issue here is, I'm guessing, a tense issue.
Oh yeah.
My phone didn't have service all the way out here, and I was as good as dead by the time I make it back to civilization. So,
Okay.
Time I would have made it.
yeah, made it back to civilization.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
it's a very simple one-letter change.
Yep.
All right.
Like I said earlier, the past tense and present tense in this story is a little abysmal.
From the creepypasta writing in general.
Yeah, sometimes.
Even yours, the one that I edited, it had a
Yeah.
lot of that too.
Okay, actually, I'll say it right now then.
No, I want
No,
to say this first. It is actually hard to stay in the mindset of being like, okay, everything has to be past tense. Like, it's hard to be
Oh, yeah.
in that mindset.
No,
because
for sure. As a writer,
generally,
yeah.
you're right in the now.
Yeah. My thing I was gonna say actually wasn't like I wasn't defending bad writing, but I was actually bringing up for the story. It's like this story feels like a first draft, or even maybe even a second run through draft that needs to be further edited. That's kind of what I was trying to I was gonna say. It's just yeah. Just with all the typos that we brought up, and the past and present tense, and even some of the way that some of the writing is, that I'll get into a little bit later with my actual thoughts. It felt like when I was reading this, it felt like kind of like this needs to be edited a lot more. Like this needs to be revised a few times.
That'll be expanded upon more in the final thoughts, probably.
Yep. But sorry, Mikey, continue.
All right, and then I have front ends, front butt, and its story.
Ooh. And now a conjunction junction with a side helping of an it story. Take it away.
And soon we were more worried about paying bills rather than wondering what kinds of things resided in the ocean of trees. And my dream is to be with Evelyn, my significant other. And it was the best night of my life. But that's when I noticed the strange array of lights. All started that day she introduced herself in middle school. It was love at first sight, and all my friends teased me. It wasn't after our high school graduation that I gathered the courage to ask her out on a date. It was 11:37, and I had just finished the final load for the night. It did help knowing that the aircraft was going in a straight line. It was just down the strip of road heading for the forest. It only moved when I did, which was a bit unnerving. It was uncommon for us to eat together. It was too elaborate for everyone to join in on this charade, and even more unusual that she had somehow sneaked into my apartment last night, only to delete hers and her parents' phone numbers. It reverberated throughout the entire forest, shaking the trees themselves. It grew brighter and brighter until it closed in and hovered just in front of my face. It wasn't unnatural for him to want to talk to me after work. It felt as if someone was pulling the corner of my cheeks to fake a sincere grin. It just made me angry. It was familiar. It was impossible to see through, and the only way to go was back into town. It was nostalgic. It was a branch. It both amazed and terrified me. It was nothing.
That's it?
And that's it.
Oh. Wow. That was confusing.
Changed up a little
Also,
bit. 'Cause
yeah,
it felt like he was working, like he was doing inventory in a flying airplane, and then he was talking about
with,
eating with the plane itself, and then this light comes up and is
and
he's
like right to his face, and
yeah,
then it
he's
was
like,
his
and then
boss.
John normally comes up.
John is actually just a glow cloud. This takes place actually in like a suburb of Night Vale, and his boss John is actually the glow cloud. Yep. All right. That's the end of your grammar inquisitions and such. All right, on to gamer.
All right, well, the first one. When I was younger, I had an avid curiosity for what lay beyond the starry sky. Should it be lay, laid, or lays? I don't really know. I had an avid curiosity for what lay beyond the starry sky.
What lay beyond?
Geez,
what lay?
Okay.
I think they all might work.
What lay beyond, or what lie beyond?
I'm gonna say it's a nitpick.
Oh, God. Yeah.
I'm in the nook finally.
Ah, yes, you finally made it to the nook, the cyber nook.
Finally.
What are you doing in my house? Get out! Gotta keep quarantined. Damn it!
Next one. Recent discoveries of stars such as VY Canis Majoris dash really shows you shows you truly insignificant. Blah 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 blah. So again, the whole dash situation being used as a comma kind of made that seem weird. It's like the star itself is called VY Canis Majoris really.
See, okay, yeah. I've actually I know somebody, like I know actually an English major who's told me that you can use the double long, like the double length dash as a breaking point, like kind of like a comma or like a semicolon. but you need the double dash, not the singular
Yeah.
dash.
The single joins those two words together.
Yeah, a double dash is the one that it lets you to jump up to the higher platform, but no, the double dash length is also allows you to that one acts as a break for the sentence, not combines two words together. Yeah, like you said.
Yes. And then the next one, back when he was in school. Pain flared across my body as her elbow tapped my hips. Dash because the night before, comma, it felt like as if someone was breaking my ribs.
Oh God.
Surprised no one brought that up.
I have it in my notes actually, in my actual thoughts. Just that whole thing entirely. Just like what?
Grammar
Like
related.
what?
Me, but
what
yeah.
even is going on in that part of the story?
Okay, so first of all, my first point is at your hips. Wouldn't it be at your side if it says
Yeah.
ribs that are broken?
Elbowed.
And also, like, if she's sitting next to him, she like reached down to hit him in the hip specifically. That's awkward.
Hip shot.
Yeah. Like normally you just nudge him in the side, right, or in the arm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like hips should be like and then it seems like he broke a rib, so it's not the hip, it's the torso. Like he tapped her. Her elbow tapped my torso or something, or like my side would even work better. Hip is your hip bone, which is down where your torso meets your legs. So
Much.
Yeah, no, that's
the night before. What happened? Like that's an odd way to mention
that, right? I don't understand.
So
that's the part of my
here's the
actual
way that
thought.
I
It was
rewrote
just
it.
like, okay, yeah, I'd like to hear how you rewrote that.
So you try.
No, I
I
didn't mean it that way.
Damn it. I rewrote it like this. Pain flared across my body as her elbow tapped my side. The night before, I woke feeling as if someone broke my ribs.
See, yeah, that actually does. It's still a little like why did you feel like that the day before kind of thing? But like, it still makes more sense than what we got.
It's like his ribs hurt because when he woke up, they hurt. That is the reason.
Yeah. Well, and also, actually, I just realized, and this is a bit of an actual thought, but I just realized like that's actually another hint as to like the whole biblical thing.
Right.
Because Eve was made from the in the Bible, Eve was made from a rib bone of Adam. Like God made Eve from a rib bone.
Then everything else was talked about.
Cool. All right. And in that case, we'll go to actual thoughts with that segue. So I'm just going to start with this. My life is an ideal one. Good paying job, friends, apartment, nice car, and a beautiful girlfriend. Just hang on to that sentence for a second here. And then we go on to this quote. Recent discoveries of stars such as VY Canis Majoris really shows you how truly insignificant we are in the grand cosmic scheme of the universe. VY Canis Majoris, first observed March 7th, 1801, by French astrologer Jerome Land.
What?
Now, I further digging into Canis Majoris's wiki entry. The context is the first sentence is talking about how he has a great apartment, a nice car,
and like phones that you put contact lists.
and then yeah, exactly. And then is talking about how the recent discovery of stars such as VY Canis Majoris, which was first observed in March 7th, 1801.
Mm-hmm.
Now, further digging into it, Canis Majoris has been like observed according to the Wikipedia page. Basically, they thought it was a 2 stars, and then it was expanding, and then they realized that it was basically the result of like the remnants of a supernova, I believe. And like that was observed as of 1998. So yeah, that was the first thing I was like, like I as soon as I got to that point, I was like, I'm just gonna check this Canis Majoris because I've never heard of it before.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it was discovered in 1801, or it was first observed in 1801 by a French astrologer. So it's like
that mean discovered, just observed.
Yeah, no, it was and then like further discoveries were like 1901 or like 1970s. Like there was observations and like discoveries like during those times, but like the latest one was when they I think acknowledged that it was like the remnants of a supernova or something in 1990 in the 90s. So yeah, I don't know like if it's yeah, maybe it
specifically saying how it was like recently found to be remnants of a supernova and all that, but still that's in the 90s.
and that yeah, and that could well, but that's also like and then we go into like texting and cell phones and stuff like that. It does seem like a really weird like like offhand mention.
Yep.
Why was that specifically chosen? Does that have anything to do with it? The story,
I don't know. I really don't. Like maybe because it was like a supernova, like or it's just like we thought it was like a big growing star, and then it turned out just to be like the remnants of a of a supernova kind of thing. And it shows how truly insignificant we are on the grand scale, cosmic scale of things. Like maybe just like I really don't get it.
In space,
there's better analogy
and analogies that are tied to the proper timeline.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I didn't see the why that one was specifically chosen. Like
so that's
other than maybe
his memory from back in 18 whatever the fuck when he was also alive.
He's still fucking confused. Yeah, he's still like weird or like I don't know. It was just a really weird like use of a star.
Mm-hmm.
And then I already talked about how like that
offended by the improper use of that star, Mikey.
I was offended by it.
Yes. Well, you would be being a silhouette of stars. Anyway, yeah, my next one was the one I talked about earlier about like the night before kind of thing. The only thing I can think of again is just that it was because like the night before it felt like he had broken a rib. It was like again another hint that like this is all about like Adam and Eve and the Garden of Eden kind of thing. But otherwise, I was just like I was left like wondering what the fuck this person's talking about. And just how things are going by really fast and not being developed properly.
Pick up on the rib Eve situation that early, like with the child.
No, I didn't know. I only caught that. I only caught that after I'd read the story and I was going through my notes.
Yeah, okay.
At this point, though, I was using this as a note of like, there's no what's the context here? Why isn't this being like developed further? It's just being like mentioned and then passed on.
Okay.
Yeah. And the next one here. So earlier his coworkers were talking about like bears showing up, and on people's properties. Again, now that I'm rereading my notes and like questioning this, I also noticed that the bear thing is probably a hint to biblical things, being the she bears that show up and terrorize people. There's a verse in Revelations, I believe, or one of the books of the Bible. And Future Me will add it now. Boop. Okay, so this is 2 Kings 2:23 and 2:24 from the King James Version. And he went up from thence unto Bethel, and as he was going up by the way, there came forth little children out of the city, and mocked him, and said unto him, Go up, thou bald head, go up, thou bald head. And he turned back, and looked on them, and cursed them in the name of the Lord. And there came forth 2 she-bears out of the wood, and tare 42 children of them. Boop, thank you. But that's actually not the end of. That's actually not the point of my quote or my note here. So this is the quote, the other quote. After all that's being talked about, it did help knowing that the aircraft was going in a straight line. Yeah, maybe their stories just psyched me out. I really need to stop being so gullible. What stories? By your office workers earlier? The bear stories? What's going on?
There's bears flying
like,
the UFO.
Yeah, exactly. Bear cavalry has upgraded to bear airships or bear aircraft. Bearcraft.
Nice.
God.
You're learning well about it.
I'm just like, yeah, this part of the like this story, like there were whole sections where I was just like, what the fuck are you referencing? But moving on to my next one here. She's my girlfriend. I think I've introduced you to her a few months ago. There was this look in his eye, almost like he didn't believe me. I chalked it up to his age and forgetfulness. Sorry, bud, but I don't know what you're talking about. Obviously, I was starting to get a bit irritated. And I don't know, this part, reading this, I was like, it seemed like his irritation came on way too quickly. Like, I feel there could have been some more questions brought up, or like some more development of his boss's reaction. Like maybe like he was questioning his boss about the whole event, and his boss was just like feigning more and more ignorance about it, and that would drive him to be a little bit more annoyed. It just seemed like he jumped to irritated really quickly after one instance of his boss not remembering.
Well, it's because it's something. Oh, yeah.
Like I'm okay with it being there. It needs more for him to, like, it felt like it was like, again, a lot of this part of the story, a lot of the story is skimmed and just like rushing to get to the revelation. Haha. Plot, like the main plot angle of the story, which is like the whole digital Adam and Eve programming thing. But anyway, moving on. Switching to my photo album, all I saw were photos of me by myself at a restaurant, parks, and so on. That genuine smile had disappeared altogether and was replaced. And what replaced it was a somber expression, as if they knew, my past self knew, that she wasn't there. And this is in regards to all like the photos he has of like him and his girlfriend, who should be there at parks and in restaurants and stuff like that, and now it's like she's gone. And as I read this part, I don't know, I'm like, just dark humor kind of thing. I know this is supposed to be a creepy moment of like, where's my girlfriend kind of thing. But I just kept thinking how funny sad it is that he took selfies alone in a park and at restaurants. Like, that's just so sad but funny.
I mean, there's probably a lot of people on the internet that do that.
I mean, you're probably not wrong.
Update their Facebook, like,
it's like,
eating steak. It's awesome.
All by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like that. That's really all I gotta say about that. It's just, it felt kind of funny to me, even though I know it should have been a creepy moment.
Yeah.
It's the whole like the double-sided coin of humor and horror. But moving on to the next one. That's it. I wouldn't be finding the answers in town, so the last place to head out was for. This is a fucking okay. I wouldn't be finding the answers in town, so the last place to head out for was the forest. Yes, of course. Wait, no. What? This story likes to jump the gun or just to conclusions a little too quickly for me.
Yep.
Like, yes, of course, the forest. Clearly. And then this is
after only one person said that they didn't know who she was.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and that her apartment was.
It could literally just be John was he's just forgetful. And then,
it was the wrong apartment. It was actually like B3.
Yeah. Or it was A8, but someone broke the side off and A3 did.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, 100%.
And
then on to my next.
Where did Adam go?
Where is it? Why is he not talking? Why is he running off? She's just like trying to get his attention, but like the window is like soundproof and she can't open it.
Nice.
Yeah. On to the next one here. Super serious. The caw of ravens overhead, casting a small shadow as a flock flew overhead. Actually, it'd be an unkindness of ravens, not a flock.
That's true.
I was originally gonna like I For a second, I thought it was the murder, but I was like, no, it's actually an unkindness of ravens, not a murder of crows.
I love the stupid names that like flocks of animals have.
It's so good. An army of frogs.
Is that like a rage of dragons?
Yeah, or like or what is it? A glare? It's a glower of kittens. or what is it? A conspiracy of lemurs.
Yeah,
A parliament of owls. Like, I just love animal group names. It's just so awesome.
Yeah, it seems like they have fun.
Yeah,
making them up.
But yeah, no, this was as soon as like a flock. It's like, okay, flock of birds, yeah, but technically they're ravens, so it should be an unkindness of ravens. That's just stupid knowledge that I know.
That would be awesome if it said unkindness of ravens.
Yeah. Onward to the next one I have. My phone didn't have service all the way out here, and I was as good as dead by the time I made it back to civilization. I'm just going to correct that. Why? Give more context as to the danger. Like, earlier, it's mentioned that the forest is haunted or whatever. Maybe Bigfoot exists there, but it is mentioned and then abruptly dropped and discarded. That there is no time to fully build up any threat level to the forest. It's something this story does a lot. I mentioned it earlier. It's not developing the plot thoroughly enough for me as a reader to care or understand the importance of things that are being referenced later on. Like, it just skims and paraphrases, and it seems just to be for the sake of rushing.
Foxes on the way up. They could
kill. Oh no, yeah, those foxes. Like, they're gonna ask them what do they say. That's the biggest threat. Like, by this point of the story, I was just like, what's the fucking, like, I don't get this story. Like, it feels like as cardboard cutout as some as his good friends earlier on that we don't even get names. We just know that he has good friends, and like, is John, I guess, one of those good friends? Like, I don't know, like,
commonly.
And this just harkens back to my point earlier, where I feel that this story was a first draft and needs to be like re-edited, reviewed, looked at. Like, some things need to be added on to or developed properly. Because as it is, I'm just, as a reader, I'm just, at this point, I didn't care. Like, I was just, I don't know what's going on, so I'm starting to lose. Like, you're pulling me out of the story.
I think with the whole forest thing is, like, he's as good as dead because when he was driving around, he kept. I think this is where he kept like running into the same place, like he was lost. So essentially,
I guess, yeah,
dead because he can't get back because he doesn't know the way back, and he has no
program maybe
service, can't call anyone, can't Google Maps or whatever.
Yeah, at the same time, like, it's like I was as good as dead. It's like, how far did you travel out into those woods?
Or just put in the one line, because I was completely lost, I am as good as dead. Like, I
get, yeah, that would have worked. That would have helped, I guess. But yeah. And then my next one here. This is kind of a stupid, silly one. Grabbing a flashlight from the glove compartment, I burst through the door and headed straight.
Literally.
Gonna need to get that door fixed now, since you've burst through it. Also, maybe go to the hospital since you burst through the door.
Badass.
Yeah.
He's driving a Kia.
Oh, literalism. Aw.
Apologize.
Huge slam against IKEA.
Those are the electric Kias.
Yeah.
IKEAs.
Oh God.
Kias.
Yeah.
All vehicles nowadays are pretty strong.
Yeah. Moving on to the next one here. Waking up in my bed, I glanced at my fully charged phone to find out my alarm had gone. Groaning, I tiredly rubbed my eyes and got dressed for work. Well, given how the story thus far, this certainly felt like it was emulating a dreamscape, just with like all the like skimming and like just getting from point A to point B, like through weird logic, like, and jumps of logic. And I was like, I wonder if that really was a dream. Update. Nope. Though it sort of was a simulation. So, yeah. My next one here. That was until I remembered her, Evelyn. She had gone missing just yesterday, and I found myself in the same spot that everyone's lies led me to, this clearing. So the part after Nair wakes up in the next day, like after like all that kind of wibbly wobbly weird section there, like basically the first half of the story, it and like they're barely recalling Evelyn and stuff. I found it much more comprehensive of someone losing someone or something altering in the universe than the previous day's events. Like like moving forward, it felt like the story had been almost written like months later, or by somebody else, or just been like the second half of the story had been like reevaluated or re-edited a couple of times compared to the first half of the story. I don't know. It just seemed like the first half was like first draft, whereas this is like second or third draft on the once that like horizontal line was put in.
For all we know, the first one might have been written like a year before the second one.
Yeah, maybe they put it down and I should finish the story, and then they start like they reread it, didn't edit any of it, and then just read or wrote the rest of it. Yeah. And I mean, that is a way to do things sometimes. Like, but like you need to go back and edit the rest of it to make it work better. If that was indeed the case. And then my next one here. It seems that the program I had installed was far too much to your liking. I have to be careful of that next time, he commented. And my comment here was, wow, who could have seen this coming except anyone who read the title? I feel like the title was a little too obvious and could have been a little bit more obscure or subtle. With like the whole like, because as soon as I saw deleted software, I was imagining that this was all a simulation of some kind, like right from the get-go. Like I was just waiting for that revelation to drop.
Yeah.
Now it isn't until we get to the next section, my next quote here, that I suddenly realized, or like that we got into like some more like interesting angle of it. I know what you're thinking, and I'm sorry to say this, but you can never return to your garden. Garden? Now he was just making things up. Why did you ever want to leave my paradise? There was so much in store for you, but you threw it all away for some rogue programming. And at this point in the story, I was like, oh, Evelyn as in Eve, and Lily as in Lilith. And I'm guessing Nair is actually, oh, yep, it's Adam. Yeah, I see. I feel like this could have been a route to go with for the title to like throw people off, is to use some like obscure biblical term, maybe with, or like even like find some terminology that references the God program theory, where like it's like God is a programmer, or like the universe is a hologram kind of thing. Because those are theories that people have like speculated that the world is like a simulation that we're all in, or something like that.
Well, everyone's seen the Matrix.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all it is.
Yeah, or even like I don't know, like exe.otis would have been an interesting title for this. That would have both referenced what both things of the story, but also like been a nice like, or been like a nice nod to the reference that you find out in the story, but also leave you wondering what the fuck's going on.
It's called the Garden.
Yeah, the Garden would have been good too, or even Commune, or Ghost.
The Ghost.
Yeah, I just because the
yeah.
Ghost is the force that surrounds the entire town, right? So, and it's the central point. Like, is like the character goes out into the woods, finds the simulation's walls, the invisible walls, which has just been marked off by an impenetrable tree wall.
Of course.
But yeah, no, I think if you'd used Ghost, yeah,
it's
exactly.
A block the player off and leaving.
Yeah, the Garden, Ghost, Commune, those would have been more appropriate or more subtle like titles for this, because as it is, you jump into the story with deleted software and your guess and like it's talking about like somebody being like removed from the world. My first go-to is that okay, the world's a simulation and this character's stuck in some kind of simulation. Like yeah, it wasn't terribly surprising when it got to the end and God was a programmer. But I did like it wasn't until after I got to the end and was going over my notes here that I realized all the other hints of the Bible in this, which I thought was a very smart move on that. But yeah, deleted software, not the most subtle title. So
I mean, it could have went another way. It could have been like he's at work and there's like some weird program on his computer.
and he deletes it, and
it shows up again and ends up being like some techno virus and ends up infecting his entire work and making everything like half meat, half machine, techno
or
things.
Yeah, you could do that, or just him just deleting that folder, that weird obscure folder on his hard drive, is what deletes Evelyn, and that's what screws up everything and throws everything back in, like throws everything off. Like it could have been as simple as that, and then that's why like the light shows up in the sky that night while he's working and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just seemed like there need to be a point, or like either it needs to be a less obvious title, or has to have more of a point to the story. Because like the whole thing is like, I guess you could say that you're a deleted software, Adam, and I was like, what? No, that's no. That wasn't a strong enough link for me for yeah. So yeah, that's the end of my actual thoughts until we go into final thoughts stuff. So, Mikey, what do you got?
All right. I'm just going to continue sort of where you left off, kind of at the end. Sort of. Well, the whole revelation for me, I understood the Adam and Eve, but I feel there needs to be more things that are tied to that story, like the snake and the apple.
Yeah, I was actually trying to think of like, did the snake actually have a different name in the Bible? Like, was it named at all, or was like the walls of Eden, were they named a specific thing? Because I thought the Ghost was going to be the name of like the walls of Eden or something.
Name of the snake or some shit.
Yeah, or even the name of the snake, which I mean would be Lucifer. But I mean, you could call them Morning Star Forest. You could call them the Morning Star Woods, and that would be another kind of like nod to Lucifer, because Lucifer literally means the morning star.
I know that.
Yep. Because he was an angel who was the morning star.
Cool. Next time I'm using a morning star in a game, I could be like, I'm using Lucifer.
Yeah.
Bam.
Sorry, continue, Mikey.
Yeah. So, yeah, the whole concept of the original story is about forbidden fruit and to not partake of it, but
yeah,
that's not even really a theme in this story at all. So, yeah, that's where, to me, the revelation at the end was rather weak.
No, that's one. Yeah, I can kind of agree. I'm also trying to look up right now. It was the Tree of Knowledge named a specific thing. Like I just really want to find some like
Go tree.
Some kind of like name, like some kind of like terminology that you could use other than this. Apparently, according to Google or according to Wikipedia, the tree meaning of good and evil phrase in Hebrew, Tovwara. I don't know if I spelled that properly, which means good and evil. This may be an example of the type of figure of speech known as merism. Okay, no, never mind. Yeah, like it wouldn't like be hard to like go in Wikipedia, go do a deep dive in Wikipedia under like the Tree of Life, Garden of Eden, and stuff like that, and find some names that are like strong but subtle references to like the story of Eden or Adam and Eve. Yeah.
Right, and then also going back to the name and the thing, it could have been an app on his phone the girlfriend app, and then somebody gets a hold of his phone and deletes it on him.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you fool! Why would you delete that?
Or like he couldn't, like he lost his phone at work, and then he found it on somebody else's desk or something like that, and it was like Satan, or that person was an analogy for Satan.
Desk.
Yeah, it was Mr. Satines. Or he couldn't remember the guy's name, but he wore satin a lot. He only knew him by Mr. Satin.
He has a huge fro, and he's the best martial artist, but also the worst.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z joke for anyone who doesn't know. Anyways.
Yeah. Hercule. Yeah.
He's the best.
Yeah. And also, so next is going back to the sort of jumps in logic that this story takes, where it's suddenly, oh, I have to go to the forest. I was like, well, there's so many other options. Like, why doesn't he go home and check his middle school or high school yearbook to find pictures of her? Or heck, they've been together long enough that he might even have a picture of her on his nightstand.
Yeah, not just his phone, where he like has like an album and stuff of sad selfies that he took.
He's assuming that everything in his phone's changed, everything else is going to change as well. So there's no point dicking around.
Yeah, that's the only. That's my counter, or my my counter offer for that is like what you said, Gamer. What's the point in going and checking those if like they're already illustrating that like all his photos on his phone have been wiped off? So
I think he should have at least talked to one other person about her.
Yeah, not just the crazy apartment neighbor.
Well, I think
that he knows that knows her.
Yeah.
You know?
Or call those or call those random numbers that are in his phone.
No.
I have a note on the random numbers. Like, why doesn't he recognize them? And why isn't there contacts? Because I mean, most cell phones have contact lists. So why isn't there names associated to the numbers? It just be names that he doesn't recognize.
Yeah, there just be like unknown number. Like, and then show like where they are. So it could be like, for all he knows, those are just like random calls that he skipped because they were like because he didn't recognize them, and so they're from like Arizona or hell. They're just telemarketers.
Yeah, no. The reason why I would have liked him to go back to his apartment to check on things is because, like, an actual physical picture is more evidence than digital, because all the images could have been deleted.
Yeah, or photoshopped.
On his phone?
Maybe.
But all the pictures on his phone are pictures that he remembers Evelyn being in, but she's not there anymore.
Also, I guess going to his house and finding a physical photo in a frame, and it's showing that she's not there, could also show like kind of bring in like the kind of reality distorting like supernatural element to this.
Hmm. Yeah, it's not just tied to his phone type thing.
Yeah.
So another issue I had was this is when he's at the apartment and the person is talking to him. Like, what are you talking about? No one has lived there for the past 20 years or so. And that
shitty apartment complex.
Like
Jesus. Sorry, there's a bit of like harsh static just going through my headphones.
Oh, I didn't hear anything.
Okay.
So, like, to me, if they didn't exist, then there would be different tenants in that apartment.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also found it weird that there's been no one living there for 20 years. Like, what kind of state is the apartment in?
Yeah.
I wish there was just some random guy living there, honestly.
Yeah, exactly.
It would have been way better.
And now I'm just picturing like he looks through the window and there's just some like a large guy just like doing like Dance Dance Revolution on his Xbox or something.
Right.
It's like, that's not my girlfriend.
Who's that guy? I'll fucking kill him.
Yep. All right. So my other note here is that the whole girlfriend side of things, I feel needs a little work. Like, why don't they live together?
Yeah, that would have been
Yeah, I had a note on that as well.
more solid, like connection
kinda-
or like
kind of
a
assumed-
noticeable gap.
I kind of assumed that
also,
they would
like,
be together because like how perfect they are for each other and such.
yeah,
Like, they've been
and
together
like
Yeah.
they're just out of college or
Yeah, like they're already out of school. He's working, and has an apartment. Why aren't they living together?
yeah. Also, the like mention of Lily / Lilith is just kind of added, and then he like it was insinuated that he had a new girlfriend, or like his girlfriend is now named Lilith or Lily, and that's just dropped.
Like we never see her or anything.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, I feel like that could have been more developed. Like, maybe he wakes up that morning and like Evelyn's gone, and now he's in this shitty relationship with a girl named Lily, because that's kind of the premise, or the kind of a nod to Lilith and Adam was Lilith was Adam's speculated first wife that God created, not from Adam but like of other clay, and she was like a lot more hostile and like more independent. So in the Bible that meant bad. And wouldn't like bend to all of Adam's whims, kind of thing. And so she was cast out. And then the reason why Eve was created from Adam's rib bone was because it was something a part of him. And so like there was a stronger connection or something. But that's kind of like the biblical side of Lilith and Eve and Adam, kind of like the love triangle there. But yeah, it seemed like I feel like that would have been another like maybe another thing to be developed, is like that's what's changed this time around, was that the programmer / God was trying to basically like he was saying like later on that the program was too it was too perfect for Adam, so he tried to like rejigger it a little bit halfway through or like overnight kind of thing during a patch.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the hotfix.
And Adam noticed the patch, basically. But yeah, guys.
Yep. And my final actual. Gamer saying something? Oh, is it go? Okay. My final actual thought here is, while I was reading this, I was really hoping for aliens that were bear-like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
We both, brother.
Just Care Bears.
Well, I mean, it was perfectly set up. There's bears.
Bears?
that they talked about in the workplace, and then the crazy light was like, oh man, bear-like aliens, and then no.
It's an EDF situation, and the aliens are making hyper-intelligent bears and dropping them from the UFOs to destroy humanity. But the aliens themselves are not bears.
Ah.
It would have also made more sense because if the star had not been Canis Major and been Ursine Major, or the Big Dipper, because the star, the Big Dipper, is actually like the mother bear and little bear in other cultures.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't. It was VW or VW. Was it VW?
VY.
VY Canis Major, so it was dog.
It's Canis
Apparently.
Major, really, actually.
What?
Canis Major, really. Because it's
Yes.
dashed, it's hyphened.
Yeah, clearly, yeah. But yeah,
Maybe that's why you're getting confused with the star, because it's not the YV Canis Major that you're thinking of and looking up, or VY rather. It's VY
it's
Canis
YV
Major.
really.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a different star that hasn't been discovered yet. So this is actually in the far future.
Oh, or this is just an alternate reality.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I'd go with future though, considering it's like a super like tech.
Yeah, it's the 2090s. Or the 20 or the 3 or the 2100 or the 21 aughts.
Yep.
It's cell phones. And it's all a simulation.
Mm-hmm.
All just goes back to Shadowrun.
Most things do.
But yeah, sorry, Mikey, we keep interjecting.
Oh, that's the end of my actual thoughts.
Oh, good. All right, on to Gamer.
Okay. So the first thing I wrote down, I know you may think of me as just another lovesick person, but I feel a profound connection, almost as if she was made for me. Foreshadowing much? Literally made?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
questions? So like, right from the get go, I'm like, okay, she's made for him. Something's gonna happen.
Yep. Even before the whole like biblical revelations or the biblical nods and stuff that you find out at the end, that is just a clear tell. Like especially with the title, deleted software. Well, she's a program and she's going to be deleted from the simulation.
Yeah, I wish in that line, the just almost as this blah, 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 blah.
Really?
The almost as if she was made for me was removed, because that's
Yeah.
the part that like hits you over the head a little bit too much with it. It's a little too blunt.
Yeah,
on
it might
that.
as. Yeah, it might as well have been bold.
Yeah.
Like she was made for me.
Made from me, because
Oh,
technically,
yeah.
yeah. But moving on.
Mhm.
When I finally pulled in the lot, the thing had vanished deep into the ghost. Going up the flight of stairs, I checked the phone. She never responded. And my response to that was, so was she at home? As it is, she was in the spaceship, I imagine.
Yeah.
Like,
Because clearly we're talking about aliens now. We've
course,
scrapped
yeah.
we've scrapped the biblical thing. We've scrapped the program thing. It's just aliens.
I mean, at this point, this could be a story of my girlfriend's an alien.
Yeah.
It's like you try to text her,
would
she
be-
doesn't answer, and then all of a sudden there's a flying saucer in the sky. So either she's
Oh my
abducted
God,
or she's
that's a
alien.
yeah. That would actually be an interesting. Like I'd accept that. That would be an interesting story. Like on this end, like.
And
If
that
it-
would
if it-
explain why they're not together, like living together.
Yeah, because she's made up an excuse that I have to live in a separate apartment. Like we can't live together. Like she's come up with some kind of excuse, and then like yeah, that's why like yeah, exactly. Like
You can't have like the like what's the word? The glamour situation from her alien tech working 24/7.
yeah, exactly. Or like he'd be like she has to go to her ship a couple of times, like more like during the day or something like that, or and so like she can't just say like, oh, I have to go to work kind of thing or something. It makes more. I think honestly, I like that idea for a story more than what we got, and I hate that. Ah,
That means I did a good.
no, you did a good. This story did a bad.
Yeah.
Because it provided us information. It provided us the seedlings for a story that we find more appealing than the story that is brought up.
Yeah. It could just it could have referenced a banana at some point and us tie that into a story, and we would find that more appealing as well.
Yeah.
Because you peel the banana, you see. Anyways,
So much.
I know. It's fine.
Continue.
Okay, cool. So, my next one, which is actually my third break of immersion. My first two was the uncommon common occurrence of eating together, and the second one was the apartment and not being rented for 20 years.
Yep.
So number 3 was the dirt road was rocky and uneven, making it difficult to drive through. Through them? What? Like through the rocks?
Yeah, you could just drop that them and just be like rocky to drive through, like
Yeah. Okay. So
because
unintentional grammar. Anyway, that's the description of the road, and then there's a loud pop from the exhaust, began to break down on rough terrain, clouded with smoke, engine venting to cool down, and it's dead.
Yeah.
So my point here is you're not going to be killing and overheating your car on a rocky road like the way that this is made me imagine it. I imagine it's just like some weird windy road. There's a few rocks every now and then making it a little uneven, but like there's no elevation or anything weird going on, so I found it weird that the car just died. Like maybe
like we almost need a little bit more of a descriptor of the rocks.
Yeah, like maybe if it was
like
said that
size?
the road led to a very steep hill covered in large random rocks all the way up, then he'd be rock climbing in a normal car and revving the hell out of it trying to get traction to get up the hill, which would burn the engine out and kill it.
Exactly, yeah. Or like some of the rocks were like basically like denting and like just destroying the bottom of his car because he was going over like these like huge rocks. Like I've actually had that happen when I was in Thailand visiting an aunt. We actually had an issue with that where she went over a large rock on a dirt road and damaged the car had to be like basically serviced for like 3 days.
Damn.
Because like she had like sprung a couple of like some of the pipes, some of the tubes and stuff that were on the bottom got like popped.
Damn.
Yeah.
But yeah. Long story short, I wish the road was described more than just rocky and uneven.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Need a lot more to kill a car.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, it could be that he was driving in a straight line for hours and passing by the same sign over and over, not realizing it.
It's just a loop. It's no through road all over again. Oh no. Yeah. That's why no one leaves this town. It's not that there's an impenetrable forest around it. No, it's that it's got that same fucking time anomaly.
Yep.
Ah, shit.
We know what the shadowy figure looks like when he has lights on him.
Yep. It's just him from the future with a mask.
Yeah, moving on.
Mm-hmm.
My legs grew exhausted as I was at this for what felt like hours, running around trying to find her, obviously. All with the same result, a dead end, barricaded by an assortment of tightly knit great oaks. So he's out here looking for Evelyn. Why isn't he calling her name? Why is there no Evelyn?
Why is he just like... Why is there no like, Jason, tap X to hit Evelyn.
Yeah. Even just one line. My legs grew exhausted as at this for what felt like hours, running through the wilderness, calling out her name, trying to find her. No.
Yeah, or even like further, like my legs were like, or whatever, like the description for the legs and stuff, and it's like, and my throat burned with every as I continued to shout out her name in search of her, kind of thing. Yeah,
I like that. Next up.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly, my ears were filled with the sound of a stainless steel pot being dragged against a stove.
Okay.
It's oddly specific.
Yeah.
Like, you know what that sound is exactly that you can call it? It's like you hear this noise. That's a stainless steel pot against a stove. I know that sound.
See, and this is right before he wakes up, right? Like after the flashlight, and then he wakes up and he has to go to work.
Yes.
So at this point, I was thinking this was all a dream. Like we were about to get like a dream sequence start up again, and then it kicked in. So I was thinking that like that would have been a good point of like he wakes up to his girlfriend Lily, causing a noise out in the kitchen, like of their apartment.
Yeah,
like that would have been a nice segue to that, but it really just goes nowhere. It's just the description for a sound that this author decided to add to this for some reason.
Yeah, it's just weird how specific it is. I wish it was just like the sound of hollow metal against metal or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Exactly. That would have been better. At least it would have been better within the context of the story.
or do the segue into the morning wake up. So like the
Yeah.
actual sounds around him is feeding into the dream.
Yeah. And then like that's when we get like a little bit more of a development of like, this isn't my beautiful wife, this isn't my beautiful host. Like I'm in a completely different environment, but it seems familiar, but it doesn't. What the hell's going on? Oh God, everything's been changed.
That'd be
Yeah.
nice.
Mhm.
So next, a bright light shined from the woods, making my head shoot up. It was a laser from the UFO, decapitating.
I was- and then I heard some weird like clicking sound, like, and then like from the plasma caster fired on me.
Want some candy?
Exactly. You
Yeah,
are one ugly mother.
Yeah. Yeah, as soon as I saw making my head shoot up, I'm like, okay, I have to tie this into him dying somehow. Bright light, laser, decapitated, I'm done. There we
Yep,
go. That's
clearly.
my corner of the story.
Nice.
The object illuminated the place in the purest shades of green and red. It was green and blue before, though who says it can't change colors?
Yeah.
Right?
Hmm.
It's whatever. We never
a
did
UFO.
find out exactly what it is, did we?
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is like, and this is just an assumption based off what we got. It's just like, again, some kind of like a program corrector or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, again, everything was leading up to UFOs, and then we got a computer. Like the only thing I could think of was like it was some kind of like an admin or something in the program. But I guess
like
it was actually.
It's like a drone being flown around by the Shadow Man in the weird verse, like
Yeah.
to view the program.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I really didn't get like why is it so. Yeah, I don't know. Like it. I really wanted aliens, guys.
Oh, it was? It was a flying red fish.
Yep.
That's what it was.
Yep. Clearly.
So, next, waking up in my bed, I glanced at my fully charged phone to find out my alarm had gone off. Groaning, I tiredly rubbed my eyes and got dressed for work. At this point, I'm like, you went through all that, and you don't try to text Evelyn after waking up immediately. Although after reading on, he's in a different time situation.
Yeah,
where
it does
like,
explain
oh,
why
okay.
he didn't do that. Yeah.
But at the time, it's like if the character isn't invested in the weirdness and fear, why should I be?
Yeah, but that wasn't the case.
No. But I had to read on for a while to actually see that that's actually a thing.
Yeah, but that is also the point of a story, is the journey.
Yeah, I know. And then getting on towards the end. Down towards the end here, it's a one-way ticket in a sense. You can say that you deleted yourself, Adam. I'm like, oh shit, name drop at the very end, but the name kind of means nothing.
Yeah, because honestly, like you could have given us Adam earlier, or some iteration of Adam, so that it wasn't obvious that it was Adam and Evelyn, or Eve and Lily and Lilith and John.
Yeah. And
even
like,
John's a biblical name, so like.
Yeah. The John 316 or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I prefer Austin 316.
No, is it John 3:11? 3:11? Or is it 3? It doesn't matter.
It's 316 because in WWF, John
Cena.
No, Stone Cold Steve Austin took that from some guy that was spouting religious stuff. He's like, well, Austin 316 just said I kicked your ass, and then he kept that as his title thing for his entire run.
John 3:11. Very truly, I tell you, we speak of what we know, and we testify to what we have seen, but still you people do not accept our testimony. And that is from the New International Version.
Okay, I was talking about John 316, 311, but that's fine.
Oh, shit. Damn it. Hang on.
316 multiple times.
John 3:16. There we go. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life.
Cool.
John 3:16.
Yeah. Anyways.
Yes.
Yeah, long story short, I get that it's an Adam and Eve reference and everything, but it didn't really hit hard Like it was supposed to, I guess.
Oh yeah, again, it wasn't until I read until we got to the end, and then I looked over. I was like, oh yeah, there's a bunch of references here.
No.
But yeah,
the references are subtle enough that you didn't catch them on the first way through.
Yeah, but I guess I give the title that much props is that it did it was kind of a red herring as to the actual focus of the story. Because the entire time I was reading the story, I was expecting it to be digital and like a simulation, a program, as in a computer program. And then at the end, oh no, it was actually God and the Bible stuff. So that's the only props I give that title.
Enough. But that's the end of my notes.
All right. Well, on to final thoughts. This story does have a lot of promise, but it needs to be properly developed on the front end with its initial circumstances and reactions to things. The back half of this, for me, worked so much better than the sum of all its parts. Like, the second half of the story made much more sense if you ignored the rest of it, kind of thing. And at the end of the day, I just really wanted aliens now that we've talked about it. Like, we have a better alien story idea, like My Girlfriend's an Alien kind of thing. And again, finishing with the title, like I said, it wasn't like the only props I really give this title is that it fooled me at the very end of the story because it wasn't all about programming. It was about programming and religion, or a biblical story that it was retold for a more modern iteration. But this story needs to be retooled. It needs to be re-edited and developed a little bit better. Like, this felt like a first draft, like I've been kind of harking on. Concept wise, I'd recommend because it is an interesting idea. The product, though, I can't recommend. So yeah, this story needs to be looked at again and edited. That's my recommendation. So, Mikey.
Well, now I want to read the story. My girlfriend is a bear from outer space.
Right? I'm down with that. I'm so down with an alien story about your girlfriend being an alien bear. Like, I don't know why, but I'm so down for that.
Yeah,
or, like, you even have like everyone thinks like you're crazy, or like or maybe she starts like the glamour starts wearing off, so only you're seeing her as a regular human, and everyone else starts seeing her as a monster. So, like, kind of thing like that. I don't know. Like, it could have gone so much, a much more like out there, interesting storyline. It could have been a like a love horror story, but
like a buddy horror.
Exactly, but like, not. I mean, it could have been. It could still be a buddy horror. It'd just be more like romantic buddy horror.
I mean, your significant other is supposed to be.
Oh,
like,
that's true. Yeah, yeah.
Also, your best friend kind of deal.
Yeah. So it could have been a lot more like a little bit more deeper buddy horror. Yeah. No, it's still buddy horror. Yeah. Okay, I'm down with that. Yeah. No, I'm 100% down with that idea.
Yeah, but yeah, as far as the story goes, it needs more references to the Adam and Eve story if they're going to drop that bomb at the end.
Yeah.
It seems like it's all focused on Adam and Eve, but like you said before, there's no snake, there's no apple, there's no message.
Yeah.
It's just, here's the characters, they're characters, and they're in a scenario. But it's not the same scenario.
Like, you could have called the town Eden Vale, and it would have been a better homage. Or it would have been both subtle and not subtle. I don't know. Yeah.
Do more than just
so at the end, I don't recommend the story.
Yeah. And
So I guess
gamer?
it's my turn then.
Yep. Damn this voice lag.
It's fine. Well, I just didn't know if anyone was going to be continuing there. Either way, for me, mine's going to be a no as well. It breaks my immersion many times. I saw that the wife was made for him, like literally made. And
Yeah.
the
No,
name
we all
drop,
saw that, I think.
yeah, the name drop at the end was odd. The godlike being at the end is a bit strange. Like he's been doing this for eons, but no one has escaped the garden until now, apparently. Like,
Or like they keep doing it, and so he's just like, is this ever? Am I ever gonna find a program? Am I ever gonna find an Adam and Eve cycle where Adam doesn't leave the garden?
I think this is like the only time it's ever happened.
Maybe. Yeah, this could also just be like a weird. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's trying to be a contemporary horror version or like creepy version of the Garden of Eden story, but it's tossing in stuff that is still part of the old story, like God, like being an actual. Like, I was expecting this to actually be a computer programmer talking to his program software
AI and
in
stuff.
in the back door, basically, that he's accidentally like stumbled into. And again, playing on the whole like the universe is just a hologram, and there's a back door or back room area where like all the weird glitches of reality are and stuff, or like where God in quotes does all the maintenance work from.
Another more interesting way to take it.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like
the line here, it seems like another failure. This is what the shadow godlike creature saying. Seems like yet another failure. So failures happen, I guess.
Yeah.
Just how many more times do I have to watch the same cycle of life and death? At least this time I'll have you here. Saying like that's
so now
because he said at least this time I'll have you here. This is the only time anyone's gotten out.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
Otherwise, he wouldn't have said that.
Yeah, and now he's just trapped there with God.
And considering the godlike entity is putting like flashy lights in the sky and drawing attention to himself, I'm surprised that this is the very first time that this has happened. Like the escape.
Yeah, it's just like, ignore me.
And like bright lasers that like come out of the freaking
just like this giant light show in the sky. Ignore me.
all neuralizer blasts.
Yeah.
It just so happened that Adam had his sunglasses on at night.
Yeah. I think we can all agree that the story would have been better if it would just been the alien plot. Because otherwise that UFO thing makes no sense, next to no sense.
Like I said, it's a flying red herring.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't even understand what Adam did to make him lose Evelyn. He took extra work.
Yeah.
Yeah, like maybe John was supposed to be the devil, but then don't call him John. Like use some other name. Maybe his name was maybe it was his boss is actually a girl named Lucy.
But it's not.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but like, and when the lights showed up, he didn't like follow the lights at night. They were following him, so he did nothing to warrant all this happening. And yet, he's punished at the end as if he did something wrong because the godlike character is saying, well, why'd you want to leave? Why didn't you just stay in there? He didn't want to leave.
Really? Yeah. Really, I think his name shouldn't have been Adam. It should have been Job or Job. Because that in the story of Job in the Bible, like God punishes Job for no fucking reason.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, like that's really what it should. And it was really just a test of faith, like kind of thing. Like either that or like again, or even maybe we don't know what the boss's first name is, but we know his name is Mr. Macintosh, and that way we get the whole like Apple angle.
Oh yeah, there's a little
Apple of temptation kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And it could be like,
but yeah, I
just you stay late. If you stay late, I'll pay you quadruple overtime for all of this work.
I'll let you pay double time and a half for these extra couple of hours. Yeah.
And none of that happens.
Yep. No, it was, like I said, in theory, this has good points and good concept ideas, but in practice and execution, it kind of drops the ball or drops the apple.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's everything I've written down for recommendations.
So, okay.
I forgot to talk about something.
Oh, what?
The picture.
There's a picture?
There's a picture.
Oh, okay. It's been so long since I've actually looked at the actual story, and not the Google Doc version. Deleted software. Hang on.
Starting to close down my tabs. I'm like, what's this picture? Write the picture.
Was it the beginning of the story?
Yep.
Should I just link it in Discord?
Please.
Hang
Hang on, I got it.
All right.
No, I don't. What the? Why isn't it not? Is this on creepypasta.com or wiki? What?
There's the hole.
Oh, okay. That.
And the balloon-like globes, and he's there, and he's like, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
There.
Yeah. It. All right. Cool. Well,
Wow.
it does kind of it kind of spoils the ending. Hello?
A little bit, I guess. Also, I don't know if I would call those balloon-like globes. They're light bulb-like globes. They're actually hanging from strings and screwed in.
Yeah, they're basically just light bulbs.
Yep.
Like you could have photoshopped in like glowing orbs that look like balloons at like over top of the light sources, and it would have been made more sense.
Or Photoshop them upside down.
Yeah, exactly.
And also, I thought that he was floating in this world thing. Didn't it say like when he's there, he's just like floating and he's not?
No, he was floating between, like in the space between, and then he like water, but it wasn't water; it was like a void. And then he like crawled up into the like through the hole, and then he was like on firm ground, I think.
Okay, then yeah. The only thing I can criticize is the lights.
Yeah.
Only in the fact that the description says that they're boobs.
So I'm actually just trying to figure out something, find something quickly right now on listings. Yeah, no, it's on the wiki page. Okay. Yeah, and it's right at the beginning, so it kind of actually kind of spoils the ending bit. This was
basically all it spoils is that there's this weird void with light bulbs and a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
I'll say how he gets there or anything, but yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Well, cool photo work, I guess.
Like honestly, he could.
And it is called.
Huh?
Oh, and it does say that the image is titled solitude.jpg. So it also doesn't like doesn't spoil anything that way either. So
also looking at the picture, he could just be in a very dark warehouse that has a literal hole in the ground.
Yeah,
and there's lights hanging from the ceiling. So
that doesn't even look like a hole. It looks like a disc that's slightly above the ground.
You're actually right.
Like, god damn it.
I wonder if this is a 3D rendering that someone made and just like popped a disc on the ground.
I'm also wondering if this story came from this singular image.
Maybe
Potentially, like just maybe, like, or at the very least, like maybe this was like the jumping off point for part of the story. Yeah. Maybe that's why the beginning of the story was such a rushed, like, kind of mess to get to this point.
It was based off the image, though. Why balloons? They're clearly
maybe they kind of look like balloons to the person. I don't know. Like, why don't just say that they're bulbs? Yeah. They go off into the ether. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the last thing I want to bring up.
That's fair. All right. So, well, that was this week's episode. If you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below where this gets posted, whether it be on Podbean, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. We're on Twitter, so you can send us messages there. Mikey is at The Stands for Evil. The Gamer in Yellow is at The Gamer in Yellow, but without that W because his name is too damn long. Yes. And I'm at Review Cultist. You can also send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com, where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas, SCP entries, spooky stories on the internet that you'd like us to talk on the show. Even like spooky themes or like monsters and cryptids and stuff that you'd like us to do a kitchen episode of, and like try and like formulate how we'd use it for a story or for a game scenario. Send us those as well. Be very much appreciated. If you'd like to help support the show financially, you can go to Patreon, look up Al Dente Rigamortis, and select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $2 and $5 tier with special episodes, early access, extra content. For our patrons that are helping support the show, thank you guys immensely. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay, and as always, we very much appreciate that. And to our listeners and the authors of these stories, thank you guys immensely, because without your listenership, we wouldn't have much of a show. And regardless of if we like a story or if we don't, we still appreciate it that you've created something, because then we really wouldn't have much of a show because we wouldn't have anything to talk about. Or read.
As we've said multiple times, we like the concept of the story. It's just the execution of it. It just needs an editor or two and it'll be good.
Exactly, yeah. And hey, it helped. It inspired us to come up with an idea for another story involving having an alien bear girlfriend. And who doesn't like bears more bears in their relationships? Anyway. Boot red log. Till next time, I've been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The East Ends are evil.
I'm the gamer in yellow.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.